There we go. Oh, anyway, wow. Yes, welcome to the 100th Pony Club episode. And I thought, you know what? It's the 100th episode. Let's do something special. And let's not just, say thank you to all the people that have, supported me through both the, like I say, the YouTube Pony Club subscription. Like I say, thank you so much to all those people that have supported me, but also through the Patreon as well. I'll make sure that there's a link that goes up there later so you can see it. But like I say, yeah, this is it. I never thought we would reach 100 episodes, but here we are. So I said I'd do something special, and I really didn't know what to do for like what would be, of course, the 100th episode. So I thought, why not? Why not go back to, all where it started, where we got the name from the Pony Club, and of course, hopefully we'll convince more of you to join the Pony Club as well during the stream. So come on, join the Pony Club. You want to. Oh, Dave W, good morning to you. Craig, good morning to you. The Rusted Dynamo, good morning to you. And like I say, good morning, everyone joining us on what is not a good morning walk, but like I say, the 100th episode celebration of the Pony Club. As I just said, never thought I'd get this far, making 100 episodes. But I've only been able to, get this far because of the support that I've had. Like I say, not just from the people that have, subscribed to the Pony Club, but also, supported, liking and sharing, the videos throughout all the years as well. So, thank you so much. But, here we are. And what an occasion. What an occasion that, the first 100th episode of the Pony Club. Oh, hang on. I have to negotiate this mud because it did rain all day yesterday. Don't know where you were, but my word, it absolutely tipped it down, as we say, up in Yorkshire. Tipped it down yesterday. And oh boy, was it a bit of a torrential downpour. So the field is really wet this morning. Well, actually, it's not that wet, really. It's not as wet as it could be. Not as wet as it could be. But yes, it's been a fun and interesting, I think, time recently, really, hasn't it? It's been, one of thrills and spills. Oh, Alma, good morning to you. Like I say, good morning to all the people joining us. I know it's a bit of a surprise as well. Didn't realise I'd be doing a live stream myself, so yeah. Oh. Now we have to negotiate these ponies. We'll just walk round the herd. After all, would not be a Pony Club without ponies. Although now I'm a bit worried about, well, walking under a pylon. But there you go. Wouldn't be a 100th episode of the Pony Club without ponies. Oh. But yes, as you can see, lots of new ones as well. It's always weird when you're walking down, here at this time of the year, because you're just like, oh, that's new. Oh, But no, it's just part of the wonderfulness, I think, of you know, if you drew the birth lottery, and you happen to be born in Yorkshire, and I think you, like me, will know so many wonderful places you can just, you know, go and walk. You know, even if you live somewhere like Leeds or Sheffield, there's a lot of places you can go and walk as well. This is where I turn into an advert for. This is where I turn into the this is why I turn to the Yorkshire advertisement. Come to Yorkshire. It's grand. It's great. It's gradely, as we say. Jane Lockwood, good morning to you. Craig. Oh, hang on. I'll just get that message. Disappeared. Thoughts on the new environmental guy, Chris Stark, I think the name was. Don't know at the moment. Haven't looked into some of the new ministers, or at least all of them. I of course know the sort of the big ones, but no, I'll have a look into them. Like I say, I think the environment really going to be, I think, a real crucial issue. I mean, you saw throughout all the election, Ed Davey especially, making the point, you know, really making the point that it was a lot of environmental issues that lost the Tories on this. And, you know, we've talked about, you know, net zero. There's very few Tories, or the Green Tories, and yes, they do exist, you know, that actually really get net zero. Chris Skidmore, again, don't agree with everything that Chris Skidmore says, but I'll tell you what, he's one of the few Tories that really gets net zero. And that is really important. And you saw him pretty much be chased out of the party by, at one point, under David Cameron. Oh, I also got a new herd of young cows as well. Really, you know, really important, I think, over the next couple of years. Craig, he seems to be another Timpson, an expert now willing to say truth to power. And that's another thing. You know, I kept on saying this, you know, you're not just electing Keir Starmer, you are electing a whole range of experts. You are electing a new government, in effect, a way of doing things different. And I think the way that you've seen, you know, Starmer bring in experts, like he brought in, who was our COVID guy, the professor. He's brought him in as a science advisor. You know, the Tories would never do that. So there's a ton of stuff. We are seeing fundamentally change the way this government is going to go and tackle problems. And that really is, I think, going to be transformative in a lot of areas. And, you know, you can't underestimate that, you know, throughout all the government, things have really changed. I mean, the next big thing we need to look at. Oh, good morning, everyone, as well, by the way. Cathal OG, Duke Ventures, good morning to you. Patrick Valence, that's it. Thank you very much. So there's just so much fundamentally that's changed. And one of the things it's going to be interesting now, see what happens when we get some committees. Because I don't think we've had committee appointments yet, unless I've missed it. I've been far too interested in what's been going on in the Tory civil war, tearing each other to pieces. Just hearing this morning that apparently Kimmy Badnock has had a pop at Rishi Sunak, so we'll probably be doing a video about that later. I've done a video that'll be coming out later today about Suella Braverman taking on Robert Jerrick. That'll be fun. Of course, her campaign, said by apparently some Tory insiders, that is completely DOA. So I suppose in one aspect that's pretty good, you know, if her campaign is going to be a complete lame duck, it's what you need. But hey, everyone who now raises their voice, expect them to be, you know, a future throwing their hat in the ring for that big Tory top job. Because so far we've had Suella Braverman speak out, Robert Jenrick to some extent with his what went wrong. If you've seen that video yesterday, Jesus, the narrative that these guys are spinning whilst still ignoring so many of their own big problems. Not one of them so far has been genuinely honest about this. Ben Ridings, good morning to you. Oh, back to the chat for a second. Craig, obviously this back to sort of we're talking about Keir Starmer. He's picking people who care more about the issues than the politics. Could now generate him some problems, but also makes dragging his heels near impossible to cover up. Exactly. You know, these people are really going to push change. Really going to push change. I can guarantee you that. And I've talked about this before about, you know, progressive bloc forming and, you know, really sort of, you know, pushing the Labour government on some of this stuff. Craig, Jerrick is now starting to try and blame Labour for the state of pensions, but he's gone far too early. People are just going, well, weren't you guys there for 14 years? Exactly. Why on earth are you trying to blame Labour again? You know, this is one of the key things. This is what I've been saying every time we've done one of these videos. They've been in power for 14 years. Like, most of their problems, like, came in when they initially got in during the coalition, and then they never really sorted for over 14 years. They never really seriously tackled the housing crisis. They never did anything to really tackle any of the serious issues, except have just a couple of sticking plaster policies in the hopes that, oh, hope that solves the problem. Oh. Yeah, exactly, Jane. There's absolutely zero self-Tory reflection. Zero self-Tory reflection on that. Like I say, I have yet to really see a Tory actually be open and honest about the fact that they've been in power for 14 years, and many of the problems they've created have been, you know, because of them. So far, there's been a couple of uniting narratives on this. Oh, Fat Gasm, good morning to you. Oh, Larry the Cat, good morning to you as well. Like I say, good morning to anyone else joining us. You know, so far they're going after this narrative that, oh, it was immigration. We didn't do enough on immigration. Well, okay, what did you actually do on immigration? And you look at all their history of who they had as who was their home office, who was in charge of the Home Office. And I've said this before, there's a few videos I've seen and posts trying to sort of rehabilitate like Theresa May. And I'm like, no, don't rehabilitate Theresa May. Don't fall for the tears when she was leaving. Yes, she had an incredibly, hard and tumultuous time, but she destroyed the Home Office. She's the one who made and ended up with the asylum system the way it was and broke it to such an extent they now can't fix it. There's just so many problems they've had that if they want to actually address seriously, they've got to look themselves dead square in the face and go, oh, it was our ideology that was the problem. And they daren't even do that. They daren't even do that. Exactly. Spot on. 14 years of nothing, Alma. Exactly. The Tories now distressed, saying, are we the baddies? Well, Will Atkinson certainly asked that question. He's been writing a fair few bits of fluff recently. Don, good morning to you. As a naive child, I assumed that the Minister of Health had been a doctor and that the Minister for Education had at least been a headmaster, etc. I'm glad Labour are using some actual experts. Exactly. Craig, the likes of Timson will view this as his one chance of trying to fix their personal focus on something to grasp with both hands. He has... there we go. Oh, hang on. He has to assume he's got one chance at go at doing it, some big systemic change. Definitely not a placeholder. And I think that's their mission. I mean, let's just talk about briefly before we go to talking on about more about the Tories. I generally think what we're going to get from this Labour government is some really boring competence. Like, I really do think that's what we're going to get. And you saw their manifesto was an absolutely no thrills manifesto. And they've been saying this even during the general election campaign. We are not going to promise to do things we know we cannot do. And yet, I notice a lot of the other people on the left complaining about that, saying, oh, they need to be more ambitious. And bear in mind, I've said that as well. I've said that out in this very field, Keir Starmer needs to be more brave and bold. But what has been our number one complaint against the Tories for so many years? Oh, they've overpromised and underdelivered. So here's Starmer coming in and saying, we're not going to make any grandiose promises, but we are going to get on, and try and fix the job. We're going to make sure we get on and do the job. And it might have been a very, very boring campaign from Labour. But I'll tell you what, it was probably one the country really needed to see. Some return to some normalcy, some, regular, good old-fashioned, boring politics. Oh. And I think that is, what we'll end up seeing. And I don't know when the committee appointments start. I think that'll be soon, actually. If I've already missed it, then fair enough. But I'm sure that'll be coming soon. And it'll be interesting to see what committees we get appointed. But one of the things I am looking forward to is the increase in devolution. Because on Monday there was the big meeting of all the regional mayors, and you could see the excitement from Sadiq Khan and Andy Burnham in their sort of post-interview on that. And you've got to remember, all the regional metro mayors, bar one now, are Labour. There's only Ben Houchen. And I'll tell you this, he was not, after his meeting, he did not look a very happy bunny. He did not look a very happy bunny coming out of that, because I can guarantee you this. There were probably talks about the free port, and I hope Rachel Reeves will get the announcement soon, hopefully, that the National Audit Office is going in to start having a really good look at the books. Because he was not a happy bunny. He did not look very happy at all in that post interview. Oof. Yeah, he generally looked like he'd been a naughty boy and he'd been told off. Really did come across that way in that interview. Really strange. Oh, Gary Arnold, good morning to you. Helen Wilkes, good morning to you. Tory spent the last 14 years blaming the last Labour government for everything they couldn't blame on COVID or Ukraine. That's also a narrative forming that, oh, the reason why we didn't do so good was because of COVID and Ukraine. Well, okay, what did you do to, solve those problems? What did you do when you were there? You were in power. During these crises, you had a majority. What did you actually do? How did you solve those crises? How did you approach those crises? Still something, of course, they're going to have to, take responsibility for on those fronts. Craig, I imagine in 5 years the Tories are going to be really wheeling out frothing loons to now argue against the equivalent of expertise to Mick Lynch being made to look like fools. The Tories viewed roles as rewards, not as duties. Exactly. Nope. Yeah, Ben, how did this happen? How did this happen? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they had loads of parties and rolled in suitcases of booze. Exactly. And that is not going to be forgotten, I think, anytime soon. That is not going to be forgotten, I think, anytime soon. Go. But yeah, Ben Houchen did not look, he did not look a happy bunny. Oh boy. And now we'll have to see what happens, what Labour does, what extra powers, these regional mayors will now get. What extra stuff will they now get? Will they get more spending power? Will they get more decisions on how stuff is done? We'll have to see, but we know we're getting more devolution. And that, I think, can only lead to better things, I think. A lot better things. Oh, wow. Thank you very much, David Falcon. Thank you very much. Congrats on your Pony Club 100th episode. As a Corbyn supporter, I've been following you for years. I don't agree with you on Western foreign policy, but I've spent... but you've been spot on spot on about the disaster of Brexit and the rise of the very rearing right in politics. Please keep it up. Well, thank you very much, David. I absolutely will. Hold on. There we go. But thank you very much for your support there. And like I say, thank you very much for supporting the channel over the years. And honestly, thank you very much to everyone else. If you've given a super chat over the years, you've joined the Pony Club, you've been part of the Patreon or anything like that, even if you just hit the like and share button throughout over the years. Honestly, thank you so much, you know, for all the support you guys have shown the channel throughout the years. You know, of me doing this, and now me trying to climb a hill that. Oh. Oh, there we go. Only ever fallen down it once. Oh, Patrick H, good morning to you. Alma, yes, the policies won't be forgotten due to the number of people who died due to the negligence of Johnson. And he's still going to be around. You know, going back to talking about the Tories for a moment. Boris Johnson, and we'll probably do a video about this as well, has written the 10 grand ideas for how to beat Labour for the Tories. And it's like, okay. So we'll be going over those. And one of the big things we'll be asking is, Boris, you were in power for quite a considerable time. You had a majority in Parliament. Why did you not do any of these things? You know? Pardon me if I'm not looking at the screen for a second, because unfortunately this path has turned back into an absolute muddy mess. I've just got to negotiate with this path because I don't want to slip up and fall. Oh, but there is going to be an almighty struggle, you know, in the Tory party, not just in the Westminster party, but in the non-parliamentary party as well. You know, Boris Johnson has sort of already assured that as well with his sort of piece, trying to explain what went wrong, you know, on some of this stuff. So there is going to be a fight within the non-parliamentary party, and that will just as also affect what the parliamentary party does as well, because it wouldn't shock me if the non-parliamentary party decided to, you know, go for deselections, go for some of these things. And one of the things, I'm probably going to do a video about this, I think, once I look into it a bit more. But there are, you know, quote, young Tories. There we go. There are, quote, young Tories. You know, and Will, of course, Atkinson, who we've covered a couple of times on this channel over the years, is one of them. And they all have a very, very worryingly, really positive opinion of Farage, and certainly many, many crazy right-wing policies. And I have to wonder whether I should, like, do a video and try and reach out to, I don't know, moderate conservatives, and maybe say to them, hey guys, do you realise what the future of your party could be if you don't solve this problem now? You know, maybe, I don't know, maybe it'll be a waste of time, because I don't think moderate conservatives will be ever interested in listening to someone like me on what my opinion of their party is. But hey, who knows? We'll see. Maybe I'll think about it. But I do want to do at some point a video on the young Conservative Party, or the youth, shall we say, of the Conservative Party. They are incredibly worrying. But it does definitely show the direction that the party might go in if they are not careful. Will they listen? Will they listen to that advice? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Esther McVeigh / the Daily Express have published a 10-point holding Labour to account manifesto. Oh my word. Well, we'll definitely be having a look at that, Cathlo G. We'll be having a look at that. What mad plan has Esther McVeigh come up with this time? Former Minister for Common Sense. That's never going to leave her, that. Oh my word. That's just going to be embarrassing for the rest of her life. What an albatross to put around her neck. Former Minister for Common Sense. Jeebus. But she'll use it. She'll use it. Larry the Cat. Oh geez, Festa McDonough. There's a name I thought we wouldn't be hearing again for a long while. Exactly. Exactly, pardon me. John, good morning to you. I was watching the oaths yesterday in the Commons, and I lolled at Jim Shaman demanding to take the oath in Scots because at one point 1/4 of Ulster Scots speakers on paper and totally fumbling it up. Oh. Well, never account for someone to be dramatic in Parliament. You know, never account for someone's ability to be able to be dramatic in Parliament. Because trust me, I think the Conservatives over the next couple of years are going to be very dramatic in Parliament. Oh boy. She already has a being of Esher McVeigh, the very big burden. It's a pretty big burden of stupidity. That's very true, Craig. That's very true. God. But honestly, like, as my audience, if you see someone who is like an actual sensible, maybe middle of the road Conservative, but don't have to agree with them, I would love to speak to someone who is a current member of the Conservative Party and get their take on this. So if you do see anyone out there who seems maybe like they're willing to talk some sense on these things, do let me know. Do tell me their name, because I would genuinely love to speak to someone who is a member of the Conservative Party, just to get a sense of where they are and what they feel about all this and just what's going on in the party. I'd love to get someone who is inside the Conservative Party and get their view on all this. I think it'd be fascinating. Don't get me wrong, we would probably disagree on a lot of stuff, but I have an itching. I have questions I would love to ask, not on like Tory policy or anything like that, but just what was this campaign like from someone who was a Conservative? Like, what did they think to, you know, all this? Would be I think a fascinating conversation. I think would be very, very interesting on that, that's for sure. But so if you do ever see one in the wild, do let me know, because I would love to have that conversation. I would love to have that conversation. Just like, you know, I really tried to reach out. I almost got someone from the Lib Dems, but they were a candidate. So once all the, you know, all the campaigning kicked off, they weren't allowed to do it, which is a bit of a shame, but, you know, there you go. But maybe I'll reach out to them again now that it's all said and done, and get their view on it. So maybe I'll sort of reach out to them and try and get that, get them on. Patrick H. Conservative Party members didn't want to even put posters up during the campaign. Not sure they'd want to go live on YouTube just yet. Well, that's very true. That's very true, Patrick. That's very true. Carl of Swindon apologised to Jess Phillips. I was truly baffled. Has he finally realised? Did he finally realise that taking that stance that he did on Jess Phillips was going to be a bad idea? Did he finally realise that you know, that was a bad look? Only took him what, a couple of years to do that, or he was on GB News when he did it. Oh, not surprising. Or did he just do it because now he sort of fears the wrath of Jess Phillips, you know, now that her party is in power, and that the only reason he's done it is because he thinks he might get some self-preservation out of it. Who knows? Who knows? Oh. Craig, when your own members don't want to be associated with you, it isn't a good sign for party health. Exactly. Yeah, I think he did that out of self-preservation. I really do. I think he's suddenly gone, oh no, she's in power. She might be able to do more stuff to me than I'd like. I better apologise. Yeah, not surprising. Not surprising. Can't get through there. What was show? Where of course we do welly check. My feet are dry for another day. There we go. But yeah, that was I think that was entirely self-preservation. But anyway, we'll move on from that. Craig, and yeah, GBBs is probably feeling the Branch Creek a lot right now. Not just enforcement, but I'm sure there's now a very distant horizon for a Tory return that will keep the money flowing into GBBs. We'll see. What will happen to GB News? I think that will be very, very interesting, because I have a sudden feeling that Ofcom is going to become very interested in having a look what's what GB News is doing. I have just a very sudden feeling that all of a sudden, Ofcom is going to be a bit more proactive about this. And of course, as you are right, press reform. Press reform is definitely something that needs to happen. Absolutely something that needs to happen. And there's been a suspicion, Phil said this as well, and I share the opinion as well, that there is going to be something done around press regulation. We might actually finally get Leveson 2 in place. But we shall wait and see. That might be one of the fun add-ons we get, maybe later on down the line, but I don't think so straight away. But no, I do have a lot of hope. We are going to see a fair few number of things happen, I think, in the future, that's for certain. But so far, Starmer's been pretty good, Starmer has been pretty good so far. And, we're not going to agree with everything that comes out from the, Starmer government. I've said this before, I'd rather get, 40% from a Starmer government than nothing so far. But, hey, so far so good. Simon Carter, wah, for Keir Starmer Empire. Yeah. Wah, indeed. Patrick H, maybe Carl is afraid of being brought before a select committee and asked what he was playing at. Oh. Hey, there's a man who has really tried a lot for self-preservation. And of course he's now made this new media empire. He's now ditched as much as possible the Sargon of a CAD name that he had for so long, that he made himself incredibly very toxic. He's got no one else to blame for him but that. He's the one who made it so toxic. And I think he knows that if he wants to build his empire, he's really got to distance himself even more from it. Really got to distance himself even more from it. But yeah, doesn't surprise me. Self-preservation. He knows, or at least suspects, which way the wind is blowing, and the last thing he wants to do is, annoy someone who's part of the leading party, because, well, maybe they might actually look into where, Carl got all his money from. Because there's a fair few questions, I think, that should be asked, Where did Carl suddenly get all this funding, all this media funding to suddenly start up this brand new operation? I don't think he wants anyone, shall we say, looking too closely at the books. A 30p Lee and Farage, still the rest going to be on GBBs? Probably, but for how long is the question? For how long is the question? Because I'll tell you now, as we just mentioned, I think with a far more aggressive Ofcom, they've only got two choices. Either A, they leave GB News and start their own, YouTube channel, so they can pretty much, at that point, continue with their rhetoric and say what they want. Or what will happen is they'll just continue on, but they'll become more guests rather than, shall we say, hosts. That is definitely something I think we could see as some sort of more maybe guest access. That way at least they can continue to say what they want, because at that point they're not hosting their own show. But they're still getting all that free airtime from GB News. Oh, But we will see what happens. We'll see what happens. Like I say, I think the right in the UK is currently right now going full-scale civil war. They have started. You've got, you know, Suella Braverman taking on Jarek coming out yesterday, and then also you've got Kimi Badnoch coming out against Rishi Sunak this morning as well. So we will absolutely be covering that because one of the things I'm interested to see is, we heard before the general election, if you remember, there was this thing, or at least this sense, that if you wanted to do well in the future of the Conservative Party, that the scuttlebutt was that you had to really distance yourself from Rishi Sunak and be seen as someone who challenged Rishi Sunak in all this. And, you know, with his decision and his time when he was sort of Prime Minister. And that will be a question I think certainly Kimi Badnoch will absolutely have to answer if she's, you know, in the leadership contest. She will absolutely get that question answered to her. You know, what did you do to stand up against Rishi Sunak? And I can already see in her piece, I haven't even read it, but I guarantee you she'll say, oh, Rishi Sunak should have done this, this and this, all these things were his fault. So, okay, Kimmy, where were you telling Sunak this? You know, did you send him WhatsApps? Did you send him emails? Did you have a phone call with him? We'll see. Baddy Nook and Blabbermouth in the mud wrestle. A very nasty thought indeed. Sorry. Yeah, a very nasty thought indeed, Larry. Very nasty thought indeed. Sphinxy Cat, how come Sunak was so respectable yesterday in the comments? Probably because he knew he lost. And like I say, I think he's looking forward to getting as far away as he can. I do really think he's going to do the biggest runner possible. And I think he's just hoping that the 1922 committee sorts themselves out as quickly as possible. Then he can just go and do that runner. But yeah, I think he's going to try and keep a low profile. A very low profile. So I don't expect too much from him, to be honest, for the next couple of weeks. I don't even think he's going to respond to any of the jabs or jibes that are going to come against him. Morning! So I don't think he's going to do anything at all against half of the stuff that's going to come against him. I think he's just going to accept it, to be honest. Oh. I don't know if you can see him. Baby pony, little hole behind there. The 1922 committee is already blowing up at the selection of the chair. Doesn't surprise me. Does not surprise me because if you become the chairman and let's say you are on the right side of the party, well, you suddenly have a lot of power and influence. So they are jostling for power. They are madly jostling for power along that front. That is for sure. Oh, there's a wee tiny baby one. There he is. You can just see him poking at his head. But yeah, it's so strange. I think the next couple of weeks, and even then into the leadership contest, it's going to get absolutely brutal. We have not yet seen the Conservatives begin to fight yet, but oh boy, you are seeing the beginnings of it. You are really seeing the beginnings of it. But oh boy, is it gonna kick off. Jeebus. It is going to kick off. Massively so. Massively so. Oh. But yeah, Tories arguing about the 1922 committee. What a surprise. Why? Because there's a lot of power in that position. So we'll see what happens, and we'll also see how long this leadership contest actually is. You'd think the Tories might want to have like a short contest, but I keep on hearing from them that they want to have a long contest, and you're like, are you guys really sure you want to have like such a long leadership contest, considering how brutal and bloody this is going to be for you? I mean, it's more content for me, but oh my, oh me, oh my, what a time. What a time indeed. Oh, but anyway, oh, good morning, Maggie Pie. Like I say, good morning everyone else joining us. Like I say, 100th episode of the Pony Club. Thank you so much to everyone over the years who has not only supported the Pony Club, been on the support for the Patreon. Even if you've just clicked the like and share button, left a comment down below, you know, you've given a super chat over the years. Thank you so much for all the help and support you guys have shown the channel. And like I say, thank you very much. Here it is, the 100th episode. Never thought we'd get this far. Never thought we'd do 100 episodes, but here we are. So yeah, Pony Club 100th episode. How do we end this? Well, if you've liked this today, do feel free to join the Pony Club or the Patreon down below. Like I say, you get access to all 100 videos. Like I say, this is of course open to the public as well. So thank you very much to all the support you guys have given over the years. Whether you agree with me, disagree with me, thank you so much. As David Falconer said, doesn't agree with me everything on, my foreign policy takes, but hey, that's fine. That's politics, right? It's good to listen to people with different points of view. It broadens your horizons. You get to understand what your opposition is, what they're arguing about, what their main problems sort of really are. You get to understand more about the core of their arguments and how you can sort of push back against their arguments as well. So, like I say, thank you so much for joining me today. Of course, we'll see you next time on the 101 episode of the Pony Club, but that won't be open to everyone. Like I say, that will be behind, of course, the build HS2. Exactly. We'll be doing a video on that, Maggie Pie, don't worry. We'll be doing a video on that, don't worry. So yeah, if you want to see more, of course, Pony Club episodes and etc., do go join the Patreon or the Pony Club YouTube subscription down below. Thank you very much to everyone for joining us this morning. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.